Morning, Bones.
Morning, Padre. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there today, sir. Uh,
Good. Good.
so we had mentioned looking into cryptocurrencies or digital currencies, what they are, and this new act or these three bills that were just passed, what they were
Yeah,
about.
subject came up because of all the hype. I forget that the lady's
Yeah,
name.
Marjorie Taylor
Uh,
Greene.
yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene had mentioned that this is what's going on in the background while everybody's focused on the Epstein files.
Right.
So I wanted to know what it was all about. I did want to know what it was all about.
Right, her
So
take, and the thing that surprised me and why it caught my attention is Marjorie Taylor Greene is a Republican representative that has usually been very tight with the GOP and backing what they do and speaking out very positively. And she came out with a blistering attack on these bills, like you stated, saying, while you're not looking, here's what's going on. And this just crept through and is being shoved down your throats. And her speech led me to believe that they were doing away with the US dollar, going solely to digital currency under government control, and that they would have the ability to monitor everything you did and to just shut your finances down at the push of a button. Uh,
yeah, that's what the face value of that was.
right.
That's what prompted us to take a look at it. Um, so I guess what I wanted to know, what is digital currency or cryptocurrency? What is the definition here?
Right. And as we looked at it, we had some guesses, but being from the generation we're from, cryptocurrency is something I've always kind of looked at and went, that's kind of stupid. It doesn't really exist and you're paying money for it. But I really didn't know what it was. Uh, there are different types of or digital currencies. Um,
Yeah, yeah, there is.
so what did you find as a definition on it, Bones?
Well, it says by definition, electronic money, digital money, or money-like assets that is primarily managed, stored, or exchanged on digital computer systems, especially over the internet. But then it goes into the types. There's three major types. There's the cryptocurrency, which would be your bitcoins and things like that, and then your central bank digital currency, which is distributed through the central bank and has some backing federally. Um, and then there's, I forget what the other one called it, stored on digital files, where anybody out there can make up a Bitcoin, a digital coin, and sell it. Like
Okay.
like you and I had talked. You know what I mean? It relates to me. Like I don't know if you remember the fuel station that was on Pennsylvania, Gasomat,
Oh, yeah.
back in the day, what it was called. So you had to purchase Gasomat tokens, which was cheaper than going downtown to buy gas, but you had to have the token to put in the pump to get the gas.
Right.
You know, so in other words, it's not real money. It ain't worth a shit unless you're putting it into Gasomat's pumps to get your gas. You
Well,
know?
and that's just like the convenience store that used to be at 26th and Monroe Stimson. They had the wooden nickels,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
got so many wooden nickels back for how much money you spent, but you could only spend the wooden nickels at Stimson's. That was
right. They're
all it
worthless.
was.
They're
So,
worthless everywhere else.
so technically, I guess that would have been a form of pre-computerized digital currency.
Yeah, there was occasions, and I'll say this: there was occasions where I needed some beer, and I had some Gasamat coins, and somebody had cash. I didn't have the cash, so I traded my Gasamat tokens for some cash to get beer.
Yeah. And you know, I remember back growing up, you had S&H green stamps that you would get
Yep.
from grocery stores for how much money you spent, and you'd save them, and you could cash those in for all kinds of different items.
So
So,
putting
so
it in
I,
perspective, yeah, putting it in perspective, that's a similar thing, except for it's an entity that's on the digital format. You don't ever see it, you know.
right. Well, you'd have your
So
account on that digital online format that you could look at and track
yeah, it
your
says you got so
balances.
many. Yeah, you got so many uh, coins, and they're worth so much, or they have so much value if you were to trade or sell them.
Right. And then there are a few markets that you can cash them into for cash. Kraken being one of them. I don't recall the others. But
And
basically,
I
I,
think you can get more Russian rubles for your coin than you can US dollars.
oh, wow. That's interesting. And then you'd have to wonder how the ruble balances out against the dollar at that specific
Yeah,
time.
you might lose in that deal.
Well, and it sounds to me like with the crypto, as I've followed or just heard, you know, I have younger kids and they've been into that and followed it and tried to look at it as an investment. And there are people that have made millions of dollars off of these cryptocurrencies, but there are also people that have lost millions of dollars off these cryptocurrencies. I
It's
guess
a
it's
it's
like
a
any
high
other investment.
well, it's a higher risk investment, and that's what I read. It's a higher risk investment than your standard investments are
Right, because it's
because
it's not backed by anything.
right, and you don't know what it's gonna do. It's like a yo-yo, it's like a big old bouncing ball. So you don't know what it's gonna do. But if you're sitting in your computer chair at the right moment and you have all those bitcoins and you're sitting there and it comes up and you cash them in and you can make quite a bit of money.
Right. And what I read as a definition of value on cryptocurrencies is the value of a cryptocurrency or crypto coin is based solely on what somebody is willing to pay for it.
Exactly.
There is no backing for them. So
No.
so knowing that the other big pitfall when you're talking about digital currencies are all the scammers that are out there that have created their own and
Oh,
are selling it, and it actually has no value. Uh,
right. It's a big spoof. Yeah.
right. So if you are going to invest in it, I would suggest you do it very wisely and do a lot of research into the legitimacy of the type of digital currency you're going to purchase.
Right. And what I read, so out of the three categories, the one that like you just talked about, the personal individual or group of people that created the coin are the highest risk,
Right.
you know, and the middle ground uh being like the Bitcoin and stuff, middle ground, and then the ones the CD
The
oh
U.S.
too
stable
many
coins. Now, one thing that I noticed
yeah.
on that, so what led us into this was this conversation by Marjorie Green Taylor, and talking about these acts or these bills were passed. So, what are these bills, and how did it come about, and why did it come about? One of the things that I noticed is that President Trump's family businesses have recently become interested in these cryptocurrencies or digital assets, and utilizing them and making some money off of them. So if if this is the case, why would he push bills that destabilized, so or that made it so that the government can shut these down or track. Well, what I found, let's talk about the three bills. So the first of the three, uh, now, yeah, you had said that there was one issued by the central bank, and that's a little bit off. It's an anti-central bank digital currency. So it's a anti-central bank digital currency, the CBDC Act. The Digital Assessment Market Clarity Act of 2025 and the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins. The Genius Act is what it's called. So what it is, it's a regulatory framework for stablecoins, which is a type of cryptocurrency that's tethered to the value of the U.S. dollar or another asset, and it makes them a more secure investment than other cryptocurrencies. It would establish guidelines for banks and other entities that issue stablecoins and safeguards for stablecoin holders. So it's what this does, it's a protection. It actually prohibits the Federal Reserve from issuing a central bank digital currency.
Well,
Because,
central bank is different than a commercial bank.
right,
You know,
well,
you have to know.
this anti-CBDC Act prohibits the Federal Reserve from creating or issuing a digital bank currency. That's
Yeah,
what
they
would
can't have.
facilitate the monitoring and surveillance by the federal government. So,
Yeah, I think it's due to you can't have competition coming out of the government. You know,
right.
you can't have
So,
competition in that era. That's like they in Florida had a big to do years ago about the LDS Church having orange groves competing against the local orange grove growers.
mhm.
You know, so the church had to take their oranges and do something else with them. They couldn't compete in the same market. It's a similar thing. You wouldn't want the federal government competing against a private bank.
Right, right. And so that's what the anti-CBDC Act, it prevents the Federal Reserve from issuing a central bank digital currency, which was the problem that Marjorie Green Taylor had with it. So once this act was attached to the others, the Genius Bill and some of these others, then it passed, and it has gone through. But all three bills had to be combined. So then the next one they talk about is the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act. That divides regulatory jurisdiction for digital assets between the Commodity Futures Trading Commission and the Securities and Exchange Commissions. It establishes definitions for the three types of digital assets, which are securities, commodities, and stablecoins, and assigned regulatory duties to these agencies. So it looks to me like the Anti-CBDC Act, when it was merged with the NDAA, then everybody was on board with it. There were Republicans, 13 Republicans, that were blocking the crypto bills. Once they put in the Anti-CBDC Act, then they changed their votes, when it was merged with the NDAA, and it passed the House with a 217 to 212 vote, advancing the bills. The vote
Yeah.
apparently
So
remained open for a record 9 hours.
yeah, yeah. So I just wanted to touch on the fact sheet from the White House on the Genius Act.
Okay.
Um, but you know, basically, this is what they were attempting to do, and this is what I believe they accomplished. So, making America the leader in digital assets. Number one.
Okay.
Number two is protecting consumers in the digital market, which we had just talked about.
Right.
Number three, ensuring U.S. dollar global reserve currency status. In other words, what does that mean? Driving demand for the U.S. Treasuries on a global level.
Mm-hmm.
Raising the value of the dollar globally.
Right.
And it says combating illicit activity in digital assets. That's what we talked about on the lower end, where you got um, Felix down there making his own digital coin and Natasha distributing it for him.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
Uh,
They would be essentially valueless to
yeah.
everybody
So
except for Felix and Natasha.
yeah, they want to stop that. Delivering on promise to make America the crypto capital of the world. So that would be to increase the value of the U.S. dollar to protect the United States citizens a little bit more protection on their investment in the digital currency.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I wanted to get out off of what came out of the White House.
Well, and what it
So,
sounds like, this sounds very much like what Doge was functioned to do: create accountability
oh,
and stability through all federal agencies. Now they want to create the stability and accountability for digital assets.
right. I don't know. I think about this and forever, what's the sense in having a savings account at the bank when you're only getting 1 point whatever percent
Mm-hmm.
return on your money? You know, when I first opened an account, my dad was big. He's a high professional um, uh, money market person. You
Okay.
know, had a couple degrees in finance and law, and pushed us all of us kids to start saving money and stuff. And I remember going down to the Bank of Utah. Several stories were told while I was there, which I held on to several because that's how it was back then.
Right.
But I remember meeting President Brands, the president of the Bank of Utah downtown Ogden, and he gave me a bank to save my money in, which was a replica of the trains that met at the Golden Spike.
Right.
Pretty cool looking.
Yeah. The Iron
But
Horse.
I, I was going to get a 6% return on my savings
Mm-hmm.
versus what we're getting today,
Right.
right? So I think that Trump's intention, I think that the administration, not just Donald Trump, but the administration's intention is to strengthen the U.S. dollar, get it back in play like it should be, get more return on your money for your investments, including a little small savings account at your local bank. That's what I think.
And I think that's the direction it's heading. Everything financially seems to be putting more money in the American citizen's pocket, uh, taxing them less, giving them a bigger return on their money, thereby increasing the value. Um, I don't see this as a bad thing where I knee jerked immediately at Marjorie Taylor Greene's announcement. After investigation, I look into this and I'm much more comfortable. Now am I going to run out tomorrow and start investing in crypto or digital assets? Uh,
Oh,
I,
wow.
I don't think I'm going to be one of those people. And maybe I'm foolish. I have friends that have talked about it, that have claimed they've made millions off of it. And these people do have a lot of money. And perhaps they have made some good money on this. But like you said, it's all about timing. Similar to a stock market investment, you've got to watch it. You've got to know when to cash out. You've got to be smart about when you're buying. Uh,
Yeah, it's like a poker game. You can't leave the table.
Right.
Once the cards are dealt, you can't leave the table. You got to watch it. You got to have a watchful eye. You got to have open ears. You know, um, yeah, you got to invest the time to get the return on your investment on something like this. And
And you've got to have
I
the
know,
knowledge to be able to do it. You have to have the understanding and knowledge of these things.
yeah, I know that people that do it and they have their phones and their watches set up. If there's a change, it pings them, so they can
Hmm.
immediately take a look. With the digital, technology today, if you wanted to put that time and effort into it and be constantly bothered by it, uh, you could probably make a little bit of money or maybe a lot of money.
Well, just like anything, if you put in the time and the effort, there should be a return for it. Uh,
Yeah,
what
nope,
a job
I'll probably do.
is, it's what
Yeah, yeah.
it's all
It's,
investment.
it's,
You're
it's
investing time and you're getting money in return. You're investing time, you're investing skills that you've learned that you've invested time in, and you're getting a
right,
return on it. Uh,
right. Which could happen. I don't want to discourage anybody from doing what they want to do at all. And again, I'm not a financial expert, so
oh, exactly.
uh,
I'm with you there.
I like you said, I haven't run out and dumped a bunch of money in any particular currency, digital currency. I haven't done that.
Right.
Uh, I may dabble in it in the future, you know.
Well, it looks like they've made some attempt to regulate it, to give them some accountability, some stability, and to keep the federal government's hand out of the business. So
Correct.
I'm a little
Yeah.
more comfortable after my investigation as to what it is that was happening, and if this is what they're sliding under the door while I'm distracted, I'm okay with this one.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I'm all for it. Let's have more accountability in that industry, and less people will get hurt from fraudulent uh, attempts to distribute coins. So yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay, there you heard it from Padre Havoc and Bones,
Yeah,
cryptocurrency
and I
and the new bills.
yeah, don't take anything at face value, especially when you're looking at the news on social media and or digital currency.
Exactly.
Stay positive, everybody.